Hello there, welcome to another episode of the Red Delta Project podcast, your resource for helping you break free of the stressful, dogmatic diet and exercise rat race, helping you get in the best shape of your life on your own terms. Matt Schifferly here, founder of the Red Delta Project and author of the books Fitness Independence and Smart Bodyweight Training. Today's podcast is a doozy, massive one. What we're finally doing is we're getting more dialed in on the formula for fitness independence, which is the ultimate goal of the Red Delta Project. Essentially, for those who are new here, fitness independence is this whole idea of you're in control of your fitness rather than your diet or your exercise habits being in control of you. It's about decreasing the stress and basically feeling like you're set. Like this whole fitness thing, you've got it taken care of. You're not someone who needs to worry necessarily about your weight. You don't have to worry about what's on the menu at a restaurant. You have a lot of freedom. And not only does this not compromise your results, you get even better results from all of this as well. So that's what the whole book, Fitness Independence, that I wrote several years is all about. But I'm still learning about it. Fitness independence is just like financial independence. It's not a set system with things that are the same all the time. And there's always more to learn. And that's what we're doing today, is figuring out how the biggest pieces of one's fitness lifestyle fit so that you can use them to your best advantage. So the point is that there are three major classes of variables in your fitness lifestyle. And today we're going to be discussing them a little bit, but also the relationship they have with one another and how a lot of our perceptions in our fitness culture kind of skew them around a little bit, which basically robs you of the results you want and creates a lot of stress that doesn't need to be there. So we got three components, and I want you to visually see in your mind like three big lines, one right on top of another. If you've ever read the book, The I Ching, this is a thing in Asian philosophy that you see a lot, is three horizontal lines, one right on top of each other. That's what we're talking about, is these three things. So the top line, the top component, is Mother Nature, the principles of Mother Nature. And the reason why that's important is because fitness as we know it is a natural process. It's a product of the natural laws that Mother Nature and the universe has instilled. So this means a number of things. Number one is we are not in control of our fitness. Your weight, your strength, your ability to swing a golf club, whatever you want to have, we never have 100% control over our fitness destiny. It's impossible to do. We might as well just try and control the weather or to stop a tidal wave on the beach. See how that would work out for you. Go on the beach, have this big tsunami coming down, and just put your hand up and be like, stop. No, that's how Mother Nature works. Mother Nature is going to do what she's going to do, and all we can do is either enjoy the ride. And that's how fitness works. It's not up to us. It doesn't matter what diet or what workout program we create or what science we study. The person in quotes, or the entity in charge, is Mother Nature, and we are part of nature. Our bodies are part of nature, but we will never control it entirely. So I know that may sound a little frustrating because I know there's a lot of false hope out there saying, oh, this diet will allow you to control your body fat levels, and this workout will allow you to control your body and build it however you want. But it's all a big myth. We will never be 100% in control of our fitness because we cannot control Mother Nature. So we're not in control, but that's actually a good thing because a lot of stress that comes from fitness comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. It's like trying to herd cats. You're trying to be in control of something that does not want to be in control. So giving up that control and the need for control right there will decrease a lot of stress. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't utilize the principles of Mother Nature to our grand benefit. So back to the analogy of the wave, right? Like, we can't control that wave. We can't stop it, but we can use the waves of the ocean to create forms of hydroelectricity. We can use the tide to launch a ship out into the ocean a lot easier rather than going against the tide. We can learn to surf on that very wave. Hell, we could take that wave, say, I'm going to take this beautiful photo of it on sunset, and it's going to be great, and I'm going to sell it for like hundreds of dollars. So that wave that's coming in we're not controlling it, but we can utilize it for various benefits. And that's how fitness works. We can't control the processes of the human body any more than we can control a tidal wave, but we can utilize them for our benefit. And your ability to get the results you want depends on how well you understand the principles that govern your body. Things like the homeostatic balance, calories in, calories out to control weight, the mind-muscle connection and the utilization of muscle tension to control functional capability, building muscle, and so on. How to satisfy your appetites to optimize a healthy diet. These are things we can't control, but by understanding them further, we can employ various influences to get the best results we want. And that's the second aspect of this whole thing. The bar in the middle of our little visual diagram are influences. Influences, unlike Mother Nature, influences are many, many things, millions of influences in our lives. They're both man-made and they're both human-made. They're something that is always in flux and always changing. Some influences are consistent, like the pull down to gravity, the principle of that. Some influences are changing minute by minute. Like right now it's 98 degrees outside here in Colorado. The heat is an influence. So later today it's going to be cooler. So that's an influence that's going to change. However, it's summertime. Okay, there's always going to be hotter weather during summer. That's going to be more consistent. Other influences are man-made, like I've got a water bottle. So if I go outside to work out, then I can bring a water bottle, and that's an influence that can help me stay cool and hydrated. I've got sunscreen, which can help me mitigate my ability to get a sunburn. So that's an influence. I also have an app on my phone that's telling me, you know what, it's going to be cooler tomorrow. So I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I'll put my workout on tomorrow when it's cooler, and that's an influence. So influences abound. They're all over the place, and they're always changing. Some of them are changing very quickly, some of them not so much. But the influences within our life are the things that largely govern our ability to utilize the principles of Mother Nature. Now, no influence is in charge. Some influences are big, some of them are small, but the influences in our lives are the things that collectively control how well we can utilize the principles of Mother Nature, like the food in your fridge, your physical activity level, your walking shoes. Are they comfortable walking shoes? These are things that influence your caloric intake and your caloric expenditure, therefore influencing the principle of the homeostatic balance of thermogenesis, of energy coming into your body, going out, controlling your weight. So having a nice pair of walking shoes doesn't directly control your weight, but it is an influence to whether you're likely to go for a nice walk after dinner. If you're like, oh, I got those new shoes, they're very comfortable. Yeah, it's beautiful out. I'm going to go outside. Or do you have shoes that give you blisters? That would be a negative influence. So after dinner, you're like, I got to be active. I hate those shoes. They keep giving me blisters. I'm just going to sit here on the couch. What's your couch like? Is your couch really comfortable? What does your couch face? Does your couch face out into a grand window, or does it face a big screen TV? What's on the TV? Do you have a big collection of movies that you've saved on like Amazon Prime? These are all influences. None of them can be responsible for your results, but they all are important. So we have influences that collectively influence your ability to utilize the principles of Mother Nature. Now, the bottom line are rules. Rules and systems, which are basically a collection of rules. Rules are 100% man-made. They're something that we can control, and the reason why we have rules is because we want to have some semblance of control over our fitness in our lives. So we create rules in order to quantify and try and wrestle some semblance of control of the influences in our lives in order to then have a controlled influence over the principles of nature that control our fitness. And rules can be anything. Like I can create a rule, like one of the popular ones that's out there these days is do fasted cardio in the morning. So do cardio first thing in the morning and do it fasted, so you haven't eaten anything beforehand. And there's all sorts of science behind it. There's all sorts of science against it. But nevertheless, there's this rule that is out there saying do fasted cardio. Now, The thing to recognize about rules is we're making them up. They are a product of not of Mother Nature, they are a product of our imagination. Even if we are observing influences in nature that are influencing the natural principles of whatever we're trying to achieve, creating the rule in and of itself is an artificial construct. And that doesn't make it good or bad or anything, but what it does mean is that we're in control of the rules. We cannot control the principles of Mother Nature. We can partially control influences. Like, I can't control the fact that it's hot out right now, but I can control the fact that I'll have water bottle and sunscreen with me. But we can fully control the rules that we follow to try and wrangle some control over influences, and therefore have some influential control over principles. The point of today's podcast is to recognize that the rules we follow are not in control. I can come up with any kind of diet, any kind of workout program, any kind of system, and none of that is ever 100% in control of our fitness, because we cannot control Mother Nature with any rule that we create. It's impossible. You cannot control your weight by doing fasted cardio. You can potentially influence your caloric expenditure by doing that, and therefore have an influential change in your caloric intake or how fast you're burning calories, but we can't control it directly. Fitness independence happens when we have an alignment between these three things. Love that word, alignment. I'm going to get it tattooed on my forehead someday. Because when we have rules that align with our influences, which is preferences, resources, goals, environment, all these sorts of things, that therefore take advantage of productive use of the principles of Mother Nature, we get far better results and we have a lot less stress in our lives, because the rules are something that we can abide by because they align with our influences. So let's take that fasted cardio for an example. Let's say you're a morning person. You love getting up early. You love getting up at like 4:30 in the morning. And nothing is better than getting a brisk run in first thing in the morning. And if you eat something beforehand, you just kind of feel a little slow and sluggish, and you like having a little bit of an empty stomach when you're going out for your mile jog in the morning. And you happen to live in, let's say, San Diego, where the weather is pretty nice all year round, and there's not a lot of inclement weather. You have this beautiful walking path or running path near a park where you live. So all of these things are in alignment. So you have this rule of, I'm going to run a mile in the park, fasted cardio, first thing when I get up every morning. So that stuff aligns with your preferences, your resources, and your ability to do things you want. Now let's take the opposite extreme. You live in Alaska. It's 30 below outside. And you're not a morning person. You're someone who hates getting up before 7 a.m. And even then, it takes you a few hours to get your motor running. And one of the things you do like to do, though, is first thing you do is you get up and you like to have a nice, big, hearty breakfast, bacon and eggs. That just makes you feel good, and it helps you give energy for the rest of the day. But you come across this rule of do fasted cardio first thing in the morning. You're like, but I have to get to work at 5 a.m. So in order for me to do it first thing in the morning, I got to get up. Let's see, there's the only place I can do it. I'm not going outside, so there's a gym, but the gym is 40 minutes out of my way from getting to work. So I got to drive all the way to the gym, which is going to suck. I hate getting up that early. And once I get there, it's a gym membership that it's okay, but I really can't afford it right now. I'm barely making ends meet. I get there, I force myself to do it, which I hate running on a treadmill. I feel like crap the rest of the day because I didn't get my bacon and eggs. The only way I can get anything to eat afterwards is just some stupid little protein bar at the cafe, which tastes terrible. And it doesn't work for me. So in these examples, we have the same rule, but it aligns for one person, and it's terrible misalignment for another person. So your goal to achieve fitness independence is take rules, mix, match, adopt, discard, change, and do whatever you want with them in order to achieve that alignment. So in the second example, someone would be like, I hate doing this fasted cardio first thing in the morning. Be like, well, all right, but what else do you like to do? It's like, well, there's this really cool kickboxing club that started up at work, and they meet after work, and we just thrash the hell out of this punching bag afterwards, and I feel so good being active at the end of the work day rather than first thing in the morning. So like, okay, so make that the rule. Instead of screw the fasted cardio, say I go to my kickboxing class after work, and by the way, I feel better if I have a little snack of some apple and peanut butter or something in the afternoon, so I got some energy for it, so I'm not hungry right before the class. Use those rules. Adopt those rules. Make those rules for you. If that's more in alignment with your preferences and resources and circumstances, then that's what matters. We don't want the rules to be in charge, and that's where we get screwed over. Because one of the biggest things that holds you back is a dogmatic approach to the rules. Now, a dogma, I used to incorrectly believe dogmas were rules, or dogmas were systems. So you think of dogma and you think of like religion or political dogma and stuff like that. But the way I've come to understand it is dogmas are not the rules in and of themselves. The rules are just tools. It's like a hammer. It's not good or bad. It's just there. And your ability to have beneficial or detrimental results depends on how well you use the tool, your use of the tool. And the flexibility to use various rules gives you the ability to do that. Say this hammer is good for some things, it's not good for other things. I'm going to use it for the things it's good for, and I'm going to use something else. That's the natural flexibility of rules that we're supposed to have. So if rules align for you, use them. If they don't align for you, change them. But a dogma prevents you from doing this, because a dogma isn't the rule or system itself. It's an emotional attachment to the rule in how you're using it. So if you had that hammer and you say, well, I use this for certain things, but not for others, a dogma could come in and say, you have to use this for everything. It's like, I don't care what you think is best for you. I'm the authority. I'm the expert. The great texts have decreed that this hammer is best for everything. So instead of being in control of the rules are now in control of you. And you're forcing yourself to adopt and live by rules that are no longer in alignment. And that's where you get stress. That's where you get aches and pains. That's where you get worried. That's where you're basically trying to force a square peg into a round hole. And it greatly holds you back, because stress holds you back. The more stressed you are, the less forward you can go. Or even consistency. Think of the example before. The guy's forcing himself to wake up at 3 a.m. and go to the gym he doesn't like to go to and can barely afford it, and he feels like crap all day. How long do you think he's going to be able to maintain that? How long do you think he'll be able to do that every day in order to maintain the meager results he's getting from it? Meanwhile, the individual living in San Diego, perfect alignment for them. So they're like, this is great. They're going to get far better results, not because of the rule, but because it has alignment with their influences, so that they can have a greater positive influence over the natural principle of helping them burn excess calories. So it's not about the rules. I want you to be in control of your rules. Screw anything I say. Don't let any expert out there. I could bring up a ton of research on fasted cardio and why it's the best thing in the world and everything like that. Don't listen to any of that. If it doesn't align for you, it doesn't align, and you need to listen to that. I get emails all the time from people saying, I've read this book and the expert recommends X, Y, and Z, but I feel like that may not be enough, or I feel like that's too much, or I feel like I might be better off doing this other thing. My response is always, well, then do that thing. Whatever you think. If there's a voice in the back of your head saying you may be better off doing it a different way, then do it a different way. By all means, give it a try, because who knows, sometimes you could learn from it. It's like, well, the expert says only doing this way is enough, and it could be the case. You could come out 3 weeks later and be like, wow, holy smokes, they were right. But if you've been trying something for a while and you're getting a lot of stress and there's a lot of friction from misalignment, then by all means, change it. Be in control of the rules. It's better to be a rule maker than a rule breaker. And the more in control of your rules you are, the better you can manipulate and change your rules to align with the influences in your life, which are always changing, so the rules should always be changing to some degree, and the better you can have an influential impact on the natural processes of Mother Nature to get the results that you want. And yes, I know it takes trial and error. We want certainty out there. It's like, can't you just give me some sort of rules or a system that's guaranteed to work? And the answer is, of course not. There's no way I can possibly know what rules are best for you. It's something we all have to figure out for ourselves, and we never figure it out fully. We're always learning. Hell, my own workouts are changing on a regular basis. Just the other day, I had bridges with hip extensions. And I did hip extensions first, then bridges. And then I started thinking, I think I might be better off doing it the other way around. Do my bridges first, and then my hip extensions. I did that for a couple of weeks, and it's like, yeah, that just feels a little bit better. I'm more proficient at a couple of things that I'm struggling with. That's better. So I just changed it. I didn't wait for like a 4-week periodization process. I didn't wait for some expert to say, yeah, the science says this may be better or whatever. I'm like, I think this just might be better. Changed it. I'm like, damn, that was better. That's all there is to it. But by all means, use general systems as templates. Use the keto diet. Use CrossFit. Use that bodybuilding program you found on bodybuilding.com. Use the programs and convict conditioning and stuff as a starting point. Because I know if you have a blank slate or sheet of paper, I'm like, make your own rules. You'd be like, where do I even begin? So use these things as starting points, for sure. But if you encounter friction from some sort of misalignment, like this exercise doesn't feel very good on my hip, which I recently had surgery on or whatever, then by all means, change it out. By all means, make adjustments as you see fit. And it doesn't matter if there's a million experts saying, no, this is the best thing in the world. If it doesn't align for you, it's not going to work. And that's the end of the day right there. There's not a lot you can say about that. So be in control of the rules. Change them however you see fit to mold and change the influences in your life. Utilize them as best you can to further satisfy the natural principles of Mother Nature to get the results you want. You'll be a lot less stressful, you'll have a lot more fun, and you'll get much better results as well. You want to learn more? Check out my first book on Amazon, Fitness Independence, and also Smart Bodyweight Training while you're at it. That's a lot of training principles in there as well. But gain control of your rules. You pay attention to the influences. What are the influences in your life that are holding you back? What are the positive ones that you can amplify? And keep those principles as compass needles in your mind, so that's the direction you can always head into. Thank you very much for listening. Again, check out the books on Amazon, Fitness Independence and Smart Bodyweight Training. Thank you again, everybody, for leaving reviews on podcast directories. Really, really appreciate it. Now, I'll talk to you guys next week. Till then, be fit, live free.